Hi everybody, it's Christopher Moss here from prointernetmarketing.co.uk, and this is video 7 in my Learning WordPress series. In this video we're going to be looking at adding plugins. Now this is going to be a two-parter video. The first part is going to be how to actually add a plugin, and the second part is going to be the plugins that I use. So in the last video we looked at adding a theme, and adding a plugin is actually a very similar process. So we're going to fire up our blog, our dashboard, and we're going to go to we're going to go to plugins, and we're going to go to install plugins to begin with. So we've got our Akismet, which is activated, and we've got our Hello Dolly, which is deactivated. Hello Dolly is just it's a strange little plugin that just adds some text up here. I'll activate it so you can see, and then you've got this I can tell Dolly. It changes with every time you refresh. It's quite odd. I'm not too sure exactly what on earth that's about, but I deactivate it. One of the weird things with Hello Dolly is if you go and delete it, the next time you update WordPress, you'll find it's come back. It's like a little WordPress virus almost. It's not actually a virus, but it's a strange little plugin they include in every single release. It's just weird. So you've got some other options at the top here. You've got active, which if you click will just show that any plugins that you've got active. We've got Akismet active at the moment. We've got inactive, so that'll be Hello Dolly and any other plugins that you've got effectively on your server but not installed, not running. And then you've got recently active, which is Hello Dolly because it was recently active, as you saw, but we deactivated it. So you can see there, those are just some ways of sorting your plugins. But I guess the thing that we're interested in at this point is going to be adding a new plugin. And again, this is very similar to adding in the last video we looked at themes, and we added it through the WordPress, the dashboard system, this system. And again, you can do the same thing here. So you can just obviously, as I looked at in the last one, you can go to look at the theme, look at the plugins that are in the most popular list or the featured, newest, whatever, and go through and have a look at them. Again, I like to do my plugins through WordPress.org. And go to extend and go to plugins and just have a look round there, and again you've got the options at the side there, and I generally find this is just slightly easier to use personally, and then once you've found one, so I guess we'll go with Google XML Sitemaps because that's a pretty cool plugin. We'll just go to our blog. Now we can actually see that is here, so we could click install now, but I'm just going to go back as though we didn't know that it was exactly there, and we're just going to type in Google XML Sitemap and do a search. Just hit return there. Oh, we've got a few here, so this is where it gets a little bit confusing because effectively which one was it. Now the easiest way to check is actually the version number I often find, or you can click on the details, make sure that these two match up. So we're going to click on Google XML Sitemaps. We know from here we've got version 3.2.5, and then this plugin will generate a special XML sitemap. So we go back here and we can say it's version 3.2.5. This plugin will generate a special XML sitemap. So we know that this is the same one effectively, even though there's a few different ones. That's the way to check. So we click on install now. Yes, we want to install it. And again, it goes off, downloads the package, it unpacks it and installs it. It's not actually activated by default, and that's probably a good thing in case you've downloaded the wrong thing. But I am actually going to activate this. It's a cool plugin. And then we can go to XML Sitemaps and just edit. So we've got some stuff in there, bit strange. Not quite what I was expecting there actually. Might be in settings, XML Sitemap. Okay, so what's bizarrely, what it's actually saying there is, if we just go back to install plugins, and we've got you can see that we've got the Google XML Sitemap settings, but if we click edit, it's actually trying to edit the plugin itself, and that's not what we wanted. But as you can see, if I deactivate that, this settings menu, it's got general, writing, reading, discussion, whatever. It's got 7 options there. If I click activate, and this is slightly confusing, all of a sudden you've got an 8th option there, which is XML Sitemap. But I guess if you click settings here, this should take you to the same place. So just remember that site there, and go to general just to get off that page. We want to go to XML Sitemap. So again, it's 2 different ways of getting to the same thing, and that I guess is one of the pitfalls of WordPress really. you've always got a few different ways round of doing anything, and I think that's one of the most confusing things, especially when you're starting out, because you're not too sure if everything's, you know, different slightly or the same menu but you've come to it a different way. So just be aware that, you know, there are different things. Sometimes they get installed here, sometimes they get installed as a separate menu down the bottom, sometimes they get dropped into settings, sometimes it's in the plugins bit. It changes depending on the plugin, and it can also change depending on the version. So bit weird, but there you go. So we got our XML sitemap generator. What this is doing is just saying it will build a special file, an XML file, which Google can then read, and it will get a proper the proper sitemap for your site for Google. Don't worry about this if you're not too sure. Again, I'll cover the plugins that I actually use and the reasons I use them in the next video. I just want to say, you know, at this point that's how you actually install a plugin. And it's saying the sitemap wasn't built yet, so click here to build it for the first time. So we're going to do that, and there you go. You can see that it's actually produced our link there. Let's say down the bottom, your sitemap has been produced. It's given us our link, so we're going to click on that. Just open a new tab. It'll look a bit funky, so there you go. I mean, it doesn't sort of mean a great deal to humans, but when Google comes along, it actually likes it to look like this. And don't worry about these priorities and stuff like this. It's all quite computerized and stuff. It's designed really for computers, but you can see that Google can then come to the site and it will actually check for that specific file, and if it finds it, it will use it to update itself. So that's pretty cool. So I guess that's basically it. I mean, you can go to WordPress, you can find a plugin. If we go to extend and plugins, we could say go to what's one that we could install. Let's say Sabre. Again, I'll cover the plugins that I use, but this is one that I actually do use, and we can download that, save that, and we can go to save it to desktop, which is fine, and close that. This is just manually installing it, as I did with the other the theme in the last video. I'm going to extract it to our desktop. We've got our Sabre plugin, and we go back to WordPress. This time we want to go to the public HTML, so that let's go up. So this is back in our WordPress directory. We're going to WordPress content. We want to go into plugins, and we just hit F5 to refresh there. So we can see our Sabre 1.2.0, and we just want to upload this Sabre folder, and it'll go off and upload it, which might take a few minutes because my connection is pretty bad. And there we go. We go back in, and we go to our plugins, and you can see now that there's the Sabre plugin also. So it's Simple Anti-Bot Registration Engine. It's just another sort of a Kismet type plugin, and I'm going to activate that. And there you go. So you've got the Sabre tool activated down. You can click on Configure. Again, this one's different because it's put this one into Tools. So like I say, sometimes the menu options go into all kinds of different places. I guess the best way to find them always is to just go into install plugins and just make sure that you go to the relevant option. And again, it's even confusing there because you've got the edit there on this plugin, which again will edit the actual PHP file, but on this one you've got configure here, which is what you want to click, but on this one you've got settings over there, which is what you want to click. So there isn't really that much standardization to these plugins, and I guess it's just a case of if you install one, you've got to kind of figure out how to use it. So, you know, sometimes less is more. You don't want to have too many of these plugins running. I generally try and keep mine under 20 plugins, but I would say ideally you want under 10, but that's just the way it is. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and as I say, part 2 will actually be maybe parts 2 and 3, depending on how many I can fit into each video. But yeah, we're going to cover the ones that I actually use in the next video, so stay tuned.